Hey guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I wanted to show you a real quick mod that I've been doing the last couple of months. I normally carry a Leatherman Wave. It's kind of my go-to pocket knife, for lack of better words. I know it's a multi-tool, but I normally just throw it in the front pocket, kind of like most people would, their normal little folder or whatever the case is. It's normally the first thing in my pocket, and you know, the morning when I get up and rolling, and it's probably the last thing that comes out at night, or one of them. So, you know, if you ask me at the grocery store, hey buddy, you got a pocket knife I can borrow for a second, or whatever the case is, this is going to be the one I'm going to go ahead and hand you. So, you know, it's with me quite a bit. Well, you know, anytime I have this thing, I've also got a ferro rod on my keychain. I've also got a Bic lighter in my pocket. So with that said, I thought it'd be really cool to have a backup plan, for lack of better words. You know, an alternative method of starting a fire in an emergency. So should I reach for that Bic lighter and it's out, you know, whatever happens, if I was separated from my keys, if I've got the pocket knife, I've still got the method, you know, a option of at least starting, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 fires, something like that. So there's lots of ways to do that. Trying not to burn the place down, sorry about that guys. There's lots of ways of doing it, and I'll show you a couple of options that are out there, and then I'll show you the one that I've actually decided on. If you carry this thing in its sheath, it's a great sheath, guys. There's a lot of room in this thing. You can go ahead and, you know, put that thing in there, take you a Bic lighter, put that in the back. You've still got a good amount of space in there if you want to put a little bit of extra kit in there, and it's, you know, it's elastic, so it kind of expands a little anyway. On top of that, there's these little on the side. This right here, it's elastic. There's one on each side, and it's just big enough that you can put a ferro rod in there. And you know, I've carried it like that in the past. My main problem is I don't like, you know, carrying things on my belt in general. So normally, you know, this thing stays at the house and this thing goes in my pocket. Another option that's out there, and you may or may not know about this, but underneath where your saw is on a Leatherman Wave, there is a small lanyard ring there. So you can take that little lanyard ring out and take maybe a little small, you know, magnesium fire starter, kind of something like that, and just paracord that on, and then it'll kind of ride just about like that. I've done that actually in the past. It's not a bad option. You can do the exact same thing, I'll show you here, with like one of these little Boy Scout fire starters. You know, it's got the little lanyard ring there. There you go, little lanyard ring there, and you know, that's another option. If you're not sure how to get this thing out of here, guys, it might be stuck in here. I normally just kind of press mine in about that far, and it's pretty loose, so I can get at it with my finger. But just put a, you know, maybe a little flat tip screwdriver in there, and you can go ahead and, you know, just pull that thing out. So it is there. That's another legitimate option. But with that said, the best plan I've seen so far, I guess at least the one that I really seem to like. I was looking on the YouTube one day, and there's a gentleman by the name of Outlaw Edge, and he was taking a small ferro rod and putting it in his little Swiss Army knife. I thought it was a really good idea, so I got a hold of the people over at firesteel.com. There's a lady over there, her name's Ilma. She was super sweet. I told her what I was trying to do, and you know, she looked through what she had and recommended, I believe it is going to be called the Micro. But this is what it is, guys. Right there, I've got a nice small spark rod. You know, it's not a big spark rod by any means, but let me see here. There you go. You know, there's that for size comparison. It's probably, you know, just about the thickness of the spine of this knife, or, you know, maybe a little bit thicker, but there's not really much to it, guys. But it's awesome. It fits in just perfect. Like I say, right there. It closes up completely. That was one of the things I was concerned about. I wanted to make sure it's something that sits flush. I didn't want this thing poking up a little bit at all and then take a chance on it, you know, catching on a piece of clothing and either injuring me or losing my spark rod or whatever. But, you know, it sits completely flush. I haven't lost one yet. So, you know, if you manage to figure out how to lose one, try not to blame it on me. Do go ahead and mention it in the comments below, though. But, you know, I've been carrying mine for a couple months like this, and I'm just conscious of the fact it's there, and I've never had an issue. So, like I say, Ilma over at firesteel.com, she totally hooked me up. And I will tell you this, guys. If this is something you're a little bit interested in, you think it might be a good idea, I'd recommend you jump on it and get a fistful of these things. Because, let me show you what I got here. This spark rod right here is 58 cents plus shipping, guys. So yeah, they're going to get you pretty good on shipping, and I say they, meaning, you know, this isn't something that's easy to ship by any means. You know, if you get a handful of these or whatever, you know, you're going to spend $5 on postage or whatever it is. But I don't know, for 58 cents a piece, I got several of them. Because along with fitting in this, they also fit in, you know, my little Swiss Army knife. And, you know, so I got several of them because they kind of fit in several of my pocket knives. Is this a perfect system? Absolutely not, guys. This is a redundancy. You know, this is the extreme backup plan. But what I will say is this. If you have good tinder, this is more than enough to take care of anything you're going to, you know, to pop start a fire off of, you know, good materials, you know, tinder that you brought with you. Now, I would not want to have to use this thing on natural materials. You know, if you're talking about you're going to use, you know, maybe pine needles, or you've got cottonwood down off the, you know, I mean, cottonwood off the bark of a cottonwood tree. Something like that. Will it work? I'm sure it would. But this isn't generating the same amount of heat, or at least not the same amount of spark that your full-size spark rod is that's in your backpack or that's on your keychain or whatever. So, you know, that's a problem. I would always bring my own tinder. I would also say you're going to have to pay attention to how that you use this. I kind of set it up like this, so I'm not putting so much pressure on this thing that it's going to snap in half. Would it do so? I have no idea. I don't know how strong this metal is, but, you know, I'm just looking at how, you know, how thin that is, and I'm seeing that as a potential problem. I'd also say that it's game over, guys, if you drop this thing in the woods. So this is not the go-to method. This is, you know, just a super cool little backup plan. You know, for the money, I can't see why somebody wouldn't, you know, consider throwing a couple in their kit. Okay, beyond that, what am I thinking? Like I say, I got the idea from Outlaw Edge. Ilma over at firesteel.com has them. Another thing, though, that I was going to show you was, this doesn't do you, or at least I don't think it's going to do me near as much good unless I have some good quality tinder for it. For that, I went ahead and just, excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. I just took one of those Tinder Quick tabs, and I split one in half. So I've got half of a Tinder Quick there. I've got half of a Tinder Quick here. That gives me one whole Tinder Quick. That's enough probably to get me at least 2, possibly 3 fires out of that thing. But with that said, I don't like the idea of not having some waterproof tinder. So on top of that, I went ahead and took a couple of drinking straws, little small ones, and put some petroleum jelly, mix that in with, you know, pieces of cotton balls, and I've got not one but 2 more waterproof methods of starting a fire. They don't look like much, they're not much, but I will tell you that I've timed them over and over again, and these things normally will burn for right about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, somewhere in there. Which, you know, to me that's just like a good match, where it's, you know, just enough time that if you prep your tinder and everything, more than enough time to get a fire going. So that's what I came up with, guys. You tell me if you think it's a good idea. If you think it's going to keep you safer, if it's something you might try, I'd ask you, do me the favor of hitting that like button. That way maybe some other people will see the same idea, and, you know, if they like it, then that's a good thing. If you like this type of video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do a lot of, you know, videos on the outdoors and this sort of thing. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for taking time to spend it with me this evening. I appreciate it, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.